Good evening, everyone. I know we've had a long day, so I will try to assemble people quickly. So if we have the reporters from the 4 continental sessions that could come up to report on what they spoke about, it would be greatly appreciated. So as you filter in, we could please have the reporters from Europe, the Americas, Africa, and Asia Pacific join me on the stage and just give a brief summary report. People speak, or do you want to?
No, maybe he'll stand up when he's speaking.
All right. And if I could just get the reporter from the Americas, Ibrahim, I think we asked you. Thank you, sir.
How many continents have we got?
4.
1, 2, 3, yeah. Where's the 4?
He's coming.
Mr. Philip.
Thank you.
I can sit
Thank
next
you
to
so much.
Oh, please, welcome.
No, I forgot about your name. Can I have it once more? The first name.
It's just too long.
All right.
Yeah, great.
So I know we've all had a long day, but we've had really interesting conversations. So I'd invite everyone to come and listen to the reports back from the continental sessions. So we have 4 continental sessions that we work with at UNU, how we divide the RCEs up. So the Africa community, the Americas community, the Asia Pacific community, and the European community. And today, we're going to hear reports back from the action points and some of the primary thematic areas that we talked about during the continental sessions. Now, with the RCE network, we work globally, but we also work regionally. And so our regional meetings and these continental sessions, they're important because they not only give us points to act with our neighbors, but they let us get to know one another through borders. We tend to think of the whole world as completely globalized, but oftentimes even neighbors don't know each other very well. So with that, I'd like to introduce the continental session. I'll start with the Americas, and Ibrahim, if you could please give us a brief rundown of what we talked about today.
So essentially what we talked about is bilingual platforms. We emphasized on 4 points. So first was bilingual platforms. And basically because of this separation between English-speaking countries and Spanish-speaking countries, we tried discussing how we can connect and going beyond that language barrier. We also talked about traditional and indigenous knowledge and how we can incorporate that in our RCEs and how we go about things. Third, we talked about a curriculum for educators, teachers, and how we could broaden that network and help them. And fourth, last but not least, the youth network group for the region. We talked about having a youth coordinator for each RCE and regional network, just to help stratify the process of broadening the youth network. And also, we had 3 action points that we identified during the discussion. First was the youth networks and how we can cooperate all those networks across the region. Second, we talked about traditional knowledge and how to incorporate that in our RCEs. Third, we talked about the creation of a curriculum for educators. And Professor Gale, she facilitated our discussion. And yeah.
Thank you so much. So that was an update from the Americas with relation to what we were talking about. I'm now going to turn it over to Brittany from the Asia Pacific region. So Brittany, if you could give us a breakdown of what your community talked about.
So our Asia Pacific, we first acknowledged our achievements so far. So we worked out that we've had at least 30 RCE intercollaborations on a range of projects from research, virtual events and communications, study programs, university student exchanges, school exchanges, and we also found that there was a strong interest, obviously, in GAP and SDGs, as amongst all RCEs, as well as IPEBS, which I'm not sure what stands for, I'm sorry, as well as future plans for more RCE collaborative programs. Our action points that we identified was that we've developed some Asia Pacific action plans on a regional level. They cover higher education, schools and youth, and community. These were going to be circulated for feedback and comment. We have a strong organisation committee now. We have 5 new volunteers as of today that have nominated themselves to participate on that, which sort of form the, I guess, a working group for the direction of our regional conference, as well as any other collaborative projects that might come into it. And the other, I guess, an issue that we found is that only 30% of our AP RCEs are actually reporting on what it is that they're doing online. So we want to increase that, obviously, to 100% because during our discussion, lots of people wanted to connect and share, but not everybody is supplying that information online. So it can make it difficult for that to be able to happen. So that's where we want to go from here.
Now from the Africa community.
Thank you very much. From the African region, we have a total of 32 acknowledged RCs, and we had a very fruitful discussion on the key discussion points, the action points and so on. And from the African side, we realized that we need some kind of direction. And this direction can only be achieved through the development of strategic plans to achieve direction on how to undertake these activities. 2, to enhance youth engagement at all levels, that is at the RC, the individual RC level, and the national level, the continental, and form youth networks. We did collaborations among the African RCs to increase the strength to engage with the regional and continental bodies. The action points, one is to engage with the regional and continental bodies such as the African Union, the ECOWAS, the East African Community, the SADC and etc., so that we can facilitate some kind of engagement with these regional bodies. 2, to engage with the private sector to tap on the potential for engagement and financial support. And 3, to explore communication channels to strengthen the collaboration among African RCs. There are a lot of discussions which we're still going to get from the main report. Thank you.
And finally, we'll hear from the European community. Feel free to stand.
Okay, thank you. We had a rather long session. We discussed 3 points. The first one was the state of the art of the network. The second one was the state of the art of our activities. And the third one was an outlook into the future. I'll give you a few bullet points at each of these 3. First one, the state of the art of the network. We have probably the highest density of RCEs per square kilometer in the world. 37 on a small piece of the earth. That makes it very tricky to get together or to miss each other. How to live together or live without each other. Now, we discussed a lot of things, and in the first place, we enjoyed our communicator. We have a chair in this sort of sessions, which is Detlef, and we need a communicator because so many speakers on a small surface of the earth need some regulation. What we marked was that we are missing several major countries in Europe where no RCEs are, and we are considering a more active policy towards stimulating them and helping them establish an RCE. The whole southern part of Europe, the eastern part with the new countries in the east, the new EU member states. That is number two, so a more active approach. And in the third place, the internal way of working together. We will summarize this in our report. Secondly, we made a discussion of about 20 minutes of the state of activities. And again, it was Detlef who made extensive research on this. He interviewed all the RCEs, asked for their activities, their projects, and so on, and he gave an overview from which appeared that most RCEs are very involved in curriculum development, not only internal but also with external organizations, societal members. So that pleases us quite a lot, and it gives us confidence that we are on the right track with this. The third question was how to look into the future. And then we came into a discussion of how to organize our annual regional meetings versus how should we look to thematic issues. And more we come to the conviction that thematic issues may be getting more important over the years to come because we are getting into processes, my friends. Now, we are considering of organizing one thematic session every year, and we'll invite those parties that feel involved or are involved or feel supporters of this theme. We can already predict that the two major thematic areas that we will treat will be, of course, TVET. That's why I live in Europe. And in the second place, migrants, because migrants are an actual issue in Europe. We hope to inform you more about this in the bulletins to come. Okay.
Thank you very much. Let's give a hand to our reporters. It's not easy to come up and speak for the words of others. So with that, we've come to the conclusion of the first day of our Global RCE conference. Give yourself one more hand. Thank you everyone for making today such a great first day. And I am now going to turn it over to our host for logistical information.
Thank you, Dr. Philip Vaughter. And please give applause for our delegates and our moderator. Ladies and gentlemen, that was our last session for today and for tomorrow. Please to arrive here in this room at 8:30. And then from here, we are going to go to our parallel session together. So, ladies and gentlemen, we would like to thank each and every one of you for joining us today. We look forward to see you tomorrow. Good evening and have a good rest.
They're obviously very tired.